What happens when a leader, so used to being in charge, steps out of his comfort zone and into the very world he's built, only to find that the reality is far different than what he expected? Let's dive in to see the truth unfold, the emotions unravel, and a powerful journey of self-discovery. There was a man named Max Holloway. To most, he was a pillar of success, smart, composed, always a step ahead of everyone else. He ran Holloway Industries, a growing tech company that had made a name for itself in just a few short years. Max had everything people dreamed of: wealth, a massive office in the heart of the city, and a reputation for being a genius in his field. But behind the closed doors of his lavish office, something was missing. Max didn't know it yet, but his company wasn't what he thought it was. Max was known for his quiet demeanor, his ability to make decisions quickly, and his belief in hard work. His employees respected him, but often felt like he was a figure too far removed from their daily lives. He didn't spend much time with them on the ground level, always too busy with meetings or strategic planning. In fact, most employees rarely saw him in person, except for the occasional appearance at a company-wide meeting. Today, however, Max had decided to make a change. He was going to attend the annual company event, disguised, of course. No one knew he'd be there. It would be an experiment, a way to understand what his employees really thought of him and the company. He had been hearing rumors, small comments from senior staff about morale, the atmosphere, and his leadership, but he'd always brushed them off, thinking his employees were just tired or overworked. Maybe they didn't fully appreciate the sacrifices he made to ensure the company was growing. The event was set to take place at a grand hotel, complete with fancy dinners, music, and awards. Max, however, would be dressed in plain clothes, just another face in the crowd. He hoped to blend in, unnoticed, just another employee. The night began just like any other event at Holloway Industries. Employees mingled, shared stories, and laughed. Max could hear snippets of conversation as he walked through the crowd. But it wasn't the laughter that caught his attention. It was the underlying tension. The smiles seemed forced. The laughter didn't reach their eyes. He felt a growing discomfort. Max made his way to the bar area where a group of junior staff members were gathered. They were all familiar faces, people he'd seen in passing but never took the time to get to know. One of them, Brian, a quiet but diligent worker, was deep in conversation with Lisa, a marketing specialist. "Honestly, I'm not sure why we're all here," Brian said quietly, almost as if he was speaking to himself, but loud enough for Max to hear. "The company's growing, sure, but it feels like the more we work, the less we matter, like we're just cogs in a machine." Lisa nodded, looking around nervously before lowering her voice. "I used to love working here, but lately it feels like Max doesn't care about us anymore. We're just numbers to him. I don't think he even knows my name." Max froze. His heart sank into his stomach. He had always believed that his team respected him, that they understood the long hours and the tough decisions he had to make. But here he was, hearing something he hadn't expected. These weren't just passing complaints. These were feelings of betrayal, of being ignored. As he turned to leave the conversation, a voice behind him caught his attention. It was one of the senior managers, Tom, a man Max had worked with for years. Tom was talking to a group of employees, and Max overheard a part of the conversation that would change everything. "You know, I love working here," Tom said, "but I feel like Max is getting lost in all the money and success. I just wish he would listen to us more. The stress we're under, the pressure, it's getting unbearable." Max's mind raced. The pressure? What pressure? He didn't understand. The company was growing, their profits were up, and they were winning awards. What was he missing? He couldn't wrap his mind around it. As the night went on, Max overheard more and more conversations that chipped away at his sense of control. A waiter who worked part-time at the company event said, "Everyone's just so drained. You can feel the tension in the air. People are leaving, and no one's talking about it. We don't even have enough time to take a break." Max's heart was pounding now. He had thought that everything was fine, that his decisions were leading the company to new heights. But what was all this talk about burnout, exhaustion, and feeling unseen? He excused himself from the crowd and slipped into a quieter room near the back of the venue. There, he found a group of junior developers talking. Their conversation seemed innocent at first, but the words they spoke hit Max like a punch to the gut. "Have you ever seen Max at work?" one of them, Henry, asked. "He doesn't even know what's going on in the office anymore. He's always in meetings or away at some conference. We've been asking for a change in the way things are managed, but he doesn't listen. It feels like he's given up on us." The words stung, but it wasn't until Max overheard the next sentence that he truly felt his world shake. Another developer, Matt, spoke up. "I think we need to leave if things don't change soon. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm just here to make him more money. That's it." Max couldn't take it any longer. The walls he'd built around himself had come crashing down. He had tried so hard to make the company succeed, but in doing so, he had ignored the very people who had made that success possible. He had become disconnected from them, believing that as long as the company was thriving, everything was fine. But the truth was far from fine. Max stood there for a moment, feeling like he was in a fog. He had always believed that his way of leadership was the right way, but as he listened to the voices around him, he began to realize how wrong he had been. These were the people who made the company run. These were the people who had trusted him to lead them. Max didn't know what to do, but he knew one thing: he couldn't go back to his old ways. Just then, something caught his attention. There, in the far corner of the room, was his close friend and longtime colleague, Andrew, who had always been his right-hand man. But what Max saw next took him by surprise. Andrew was standing with a group of employees, and the words that came out of his mouth were the last thing Max expected to hear. "You know what? I think Max doesn't care about us anymore," Andrew said, his voice carrying a hint of frustration. "He's so focused on growing the company that he forgets what really matters. We're burning out, and if we don't start addressing this, we'll lose everyone." Max felt his knees go weak. Andrew had always been his confidant, someone who had supported him through thick and thin. To hear this from him, it shattered Max's last illusion that everything was fine. Max left the event that night, his mind spinning with the weight of everything he had heard. He realized that in his pursuit of success, he had failed to see the needs of the people who were truly the heart of his company. It wasn't about profits or growth. It was about the people, the employees who had dedicated their time and energy to make Holloway Industries what it was. The next day, Max called an emergency meeting. He stood before the entire company, stripped of his disguise, and addressed the truth. "I've been blind. I've been so focused on the company's success that I forgot about all of you. You are the ones who make this company what it is, and I've failed to listen to you. I'm sorry." The room was silent, but as Max looked around, he saw something he hadn't seen in a long time: hope. The hope that maybe, just maybe, things could change. And that night, Max Holloway began his real journey, not as a boss, but as a leader. The kind of leader who listened, who cared, and who understood that success was never just about the numbers. It was about the people. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.